and GreyStarr. And we are here with a glorious, glorious guest today. This is founding member of Overkill, creator of Thrash Metal, literally. Millions and millions of records sold, toured all over the place, is just ultimately badass in every way. Verni.
Woo! What a wind up for me, my God.
Dee, thanks for having us here.
Oh, no problem.
We are in Dee's home studio,
AKA the morgue.
The morgue.
Yes.
We have neonized it, as we do.
Yeah.
It's a very nice temperature in here. Kingston's freezing. We are very comfortable. Dee, it's so good to be with you here today.
Yeah, I'm saying you guys are, I don't often have people in this room, ever.
Woo!
Overkill guys here and there, you know, my kids, and now you two.
It's so good.
Yay!
Yeah.
There are so many
awesome.
cool things in this room.
Yeah, there's a lot of junk kind of just makes its way in here little by little.
I love that Dee calls it junk and we're like,
This
they're
is
the coolest
glorious.
things that ever we've seen. It's so good.
We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. Mostly the new single, Cadillac Man.
Yes.
But first, do I have the first question? Do I have the first question?
You have the first question. Oh, I threw all of my things on.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Just
go.
kidding. First, we'd like to know, growing up with your dad who listened to Sinatra all the time, as you've told us before, how did you get into metal from there?
Well, probably because my dad did, which means I had to listen to what was the furthest away from that as I possibly could get. So, you know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, well, you know, growing up when I was a kid, you know, the radio was on a lot, especially AM radio, and even FM radio. So you were listening to whatever the hits of the 70s were, Neil Diamond and, you know, that kind of thing. So you grew up with that kind of stuff, which was cool. And then I got a little bit older, and probably the first thing I discovered was Black Sabbath.
Yes.
And I was like,
Brilliant.
I was hooked on that, like right away, young, maybe 14 or 15, something like that. And then Kiss came, and that was,
right.
and I was on a metal journey, you know, from there on. So started off very early with metal, and then a couple of years into metal, I got into punk rock. And I was a punk rock band, which was good because you kind of have to be able to play in a metal band.
What was the name of that band again?
Your punk rock band.
My punk rock band is called the Lubricants.
I knew it was like something like the lubricants.
My mother must have been so proud. 16 years old, here's my son, his band's the Lubricants. Boy. But, you know, if you're a punk rocker, you know, you're trying to make things as vulgar and,
right.
you know, and the Sex Pistols were out there. We're like, well, okay, we could come up with something for ourselves. We thought we were so clever instead of lubricant. Lubricant. Whatever. Yeah, but, so I think it was probably, I grew up on that kind of music, and then as I tried to find my own voice and separate from my parents, you know, you went to more and more extreme kind of music. And now I'm an old guy, and I listen to that kind of music, and I'm like, oh wow, there's some cool shit here, you know. So I think probably
Full circle.
yeah, it's all in there,
Yeah.
you know. Somehow it's all in there somehow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So here's my question. So Dee introduced us to something that's on the floor right now. This little dude that you said is from Italy. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So before we introduce this bloke, whereabouts in Italy is your family from?
They're from Barricade, which is on the southern eastern coast of Italy, and I have never been there.
Not touring, not nothing.
No, we played in Milan a lot of times, and throughout Italy, but I've never been down that far.
Okay.
Rome played a bunch of times too, but when we play in Italy, they sometimes will make the trek, and we've had many fun stories
so
about
cute.
with every age, you know, from, you know, a grandma to the parents, to the kids, and the kids are the only ones that can speak English. So they come with the parents, and they come and, they come early. I remember they came to a show one time. They came to sound check, and they were standing over in the corner for sound check. And we finished the song, whatever, and there was like clapping. And the guys in the band were like, who the hell are those people? Like, they're from here.
Familia.
And then they wanted some posters after the show. I said, okay, so I got some posters, and the posters are, of Overkill, and it's got the album cover and whatever, and they're like, no, we want the posters of you.
Oh,
like,
we want
they're
you,
not.
Edie.
I said,
Only you.
I'm in a band. We're all in it together. I didn't care about anybody else, just me.
That is so funny.
Can I ask you how you pronounce certain pieces of food? Because this tickles me pink being English.
Oh.
Like the wonderful Italian American ways of saying, like, how do you say calamari?
Calamari.
Aha!
Yes.
See?
Or-
Why is there a duh? You said duh and then
Calamari.
what is this with the galamada?
Galamada.
Well,
Where does that come from?
it's different. It's different in different parts of Italy too. Like I know my whole life, it's mozzarella.
Right.
Right. But I do know people who say mozzarella.
Yes.
Would put all the syllables
Right.
on.
Prosciutto.
Right. That a lot of time is. We even do with a B.
Prosciutto.
I'm sorry,
Prosciutto.
what? Bruh?
Prosciutto. That's how I say it.
Right.
Prosciutto.
Right. I mean, I remember doing that with Blitz, who's the singer in Overkill, and he's looking at the name one time, and he's trying to read. He's going prosecution.
Prosecution.
And I'm like, what's the matter? It's prosciutto. He goes, in what f***ing world is that word prosciutto?
This is what
There's
I
no
say
B
every day.
anywhere. It's also gravy. There's no such thing
that
as sauce.
Sauce. Yeah.
Right. There's no such thing as and there's no such thing as pasta. That is some frickin' West Coast.
It's spaghetti.
It's macaroni.
Sorry.
It's frickin' macaroni. Okay? Not pasta.
Pasta.
No. Macaroni.
Sorry.
And then, can we talk about how she says pasta?
Pasta.
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 Pasta. Okay,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
English.
yeah,
Shouldn't
yeah.
it be pasta?
Every
Every other A is but then for pasta it's a.
I think we're ornery, like there are certain words, like for example, because us and French people don't always, I actually love French people, but there's a history. So we don't say fillet of fish, we say fillet of fish.
Okay.
Yeah. You never get fillet.
And garage.
Garage, yes. Yeah.
That's
Prosciutto.
okay. Exactly.
Prosciutto.
Exactly. So now you
Yeah.
understand.
Welcome to Italian 101.
Yes.
With Didi Verni.
Is it Verni or Verni?
Verni.
It is.
I think.
But it could be Verni.
It could be.
In some places.
Yes.
Verni.
In Bay Ridge it's Verni.
Verni.
Alright, switching topics for a moment. What is your favorite performance of all time that you were an audience member in?
God, just
So many.
Yeah, so many. Hard to pick, right? I don't know. Just I guess from talking to you guys, I think back to the early days. Like the first concerts I saw.
Yeah.
Right.
My first concert was Zeppelin,
Oh.
and we left. We weren't big Zeppelin guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, what? You left?
We were never big Zeppelin guys. I was like, this is okay. Where's the bombs? Where's the makeup
Where's
and the
the-
blood? I was like, this is hippie smoking pop
left.
music. This is boring.
Wow.
So we left. But the second concert was Kiss, that's got to be up there. And I saw Van Halen open for Black Sabbath. When on Van Halen's first record, they were just this baby band who just came out.
I heard about that tour because in Van Halen, blowed them away. A little bit.
You have some people say that
Say
that's
that?
not possible.
Okay, fine.
It's Black Sabbath.
You've
okay?
heard it here. That's not
Yes,
possible. You guys.
it's just
Nope.
there were lots of energy and they're
Sure.
running around and kind
Yeah.
of whatever. I
Yeah.
get it. They were great.
Yeah,
They're not Black Sabbath.
it's true.
God, the first time I saw AC/DC, they opened for Ted Nugent. Now they did blow Ted Nugent away.
I
That
would
was,
think so.
That was ugly. Actually,
Yeah.
it was bad.
It's awkward.
But the first time I saw him, and I have to say, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, probably the thing that blew me away the most that I ever saw, like the first time out of the gate is when first time I saw Motorhead open for Ozzy at the Capitol Theater in Passaic. Oh my God! And because we loved Motorhead so much, and running down the aisle, and they were on. It's like, oh my God, they started already. Running down that aisle, and that's got to be up there. God, there's so many. It's hard to pick.
Those are good ones, though.
Yeah.
Those are really good
Yes.
ones.
Great memory.
Yeah. I feel like you told us a story when we were recording with you about how you would climb in through your
The basement,
My basement
window.
after being out all night.
That's how I would get out
You get out through
to
the
go to the
basement.
city. Yeah, we'd crawl, go to sleep or whatever. You go downstairs and crawl out the basement window. Friends would pick me up. We go take the train to Hoboken. And then we take the PATH train into the village, and we'd hang out at Max's or CB's or wherever we were going.
Yeah.
God, we saw the Misfits. I saw the Ramones at Max's, all kinds. And we'd hang out at Max's, and you'd look in the booth and be like, the Ramones and Blondie, like right over there. Oh my God,
right.
like holy shit, it's the Ramones and Blondie sitting at a table eating cheeseburgers. But then we take the train. You'd have to get the last train, which was, I forget what it was, 1:30, 2:30 in the morning, whatever it was. The last train out of
Penn Station?
No, out of Hoboken. So you'd have to get back on the
right,
PATH
right,
train
right.
back to Hoboken.
Yeah.
Get that train back to New Providence where I lived.
Right.
Back to the house, around the back of the house, back through the window, downstairs, put your clothes on, come upstairs, go to school.
Morning, Mom! Morning!
Yeah, so that was
Slept great!
that happened a bunch of times when we were kids. That's how we kind of hung out in the village and had fun back in the punk rock days. And
So fun.
yeah.
Good. We actually didn't talk about this dog, so what's up with this dog, Dee Dee?
This dog, my parents bought in Italy on their honeymoon for me, which I think they knew she was pregnant at the time, or just barely. They bought one for me and one for my cousin Phil. And they had them shipped back or whatever, and this kind of lived in my room, I guess, when I was a kid, up on a shelf somewhere. And then as the years went by, my parents are both passed away now, and eventually it wound up making its way back to me, and I'm like, well, I can't put it in the attic. So I don't have a dog, and I know a lot of times you go to a studio, there's like a dog that sleeps under the console, so I'm like, okay, I have a dog.
That's your dog.
I took this, I stuck him under the console, and
perfect.
but he doesn't have a name. So,
No, we need a name for this dog. Should we have
maybe
like
you
everyone
you
send
should
us
do-
names.
Yeah, you should do an online contest.
Yeah.
What can be the name for the dog that lives under Dee Dee's console?
Name Dee Dee's dog.
Name Dee Dee's dog
You
contest.
heard it here first. Can you make the noise, please?
Yeah, can we make it do its thing?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a prize for this naming of Dee Dee's dog?
You get everlasting thanks. But yeah, he barks. Okay? And I have videos of me as a little whatever, kind of dragging this guy around my house, walking. The fact that it even still works, it's like 60 years old, this thing.
It's such a good idea to get a kid a dog like this, because real dogs only live like 13 years, and then it's like devastating for the family.
Yeah,
but you've
exactly.
had this dog since you were a kid. It's kind of like the way to go.
Yeah.
Well,
We might be onto
I
something
think
here.
so too.
it's a little kind of like taxidermy, a little bit, right? I mean, like.
Do we think it was real? No.
No.
It looks very
Really?
realistic. When
Really?
you turn it sideways, I'm like, are we sure about this?
Oh my God.
But look how realistic this is.
You can't bring these chicks in here.
There's like a spinal cord. I see it.
Yeah, well.
It has wheels on its paws.
Oh,
for its
no.
dog. like embedded in.
Okay, I didn't notice the wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
We're fast forwarding through the decades of time.
Bringing us up to the new single Cadillac Man.
Okay.
Why are you a Cadillac Man? Like, what does it all mean?
Oh my God.
Let's get really deep now, Dee Dee.
Yeah. Okay.
Why?
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 Well, I remember I did this interview one time where it was kind of like a speed round,
Right.
and the guys would say, I'm going to give you, I'm just going to shoot things out to you one time. So it's like, maiden or priest? And he'd say,
Oh,
so I'd say
right.
maiden.
Yeah.
And I'd say, whatever, apples or oranges. And you just kind of like
Whatever,
one
off the top of your head,
yeah, Monica or
Rachel.
Rachel, right, like that kind of thing. And one of them was...
Phoebe! Sorry, go ahead.
One of them was Ford or Chevy. I was like, Ford or Chevy? I mean, Lincoln or Cadillac. I said, I'm an Italian guy. Ford or Chevy? I'm slumming it? You know, it's like... so that always kind of, and in all the mob guy movies, you know, they're always driving a Cadillac. And Scarface, you know, he's got a Cadillac. He's like telling Manny, you know, it's a Cadillac. You know, so I kind of associate that with that a little bit, and you know, just the fins and the tail and the top down. And I always drove my whole life. I've always driven big, giant cars, biggest car I could possibly get. Not muscle cars, not hot rods, not. I mean, I drove a big Buick, a big Chrysler, the biggest possible car that I could get.
Do you still drive a car like that today?
I have a big Chrysler. I have the biggest one you can get.
Amazing! That's so great.
But, so, I mean, I think that's probably in there somewhere, that I kind of associate that with freedom and, you know, and being younger and kind of all that kind of thing. So, being a Cadillac man, and, you know, it's also kind of what you associate with high-end stuff, you know. It's like I thought, even thinking about it, saying, you know, the name of a car company that is now an adjective for something that's high-end. It's the Cadillac of
it's a descriptive.
That's a pretty good brand name to have or whatever. But
so it's also symbolic of like, I'm a Cadillac. I'm the Cadillac of men.
I'm not a Ford. I'm a Cadillac man. Look at me. Look at me, my God.
Look at this.
Oh my God,
boy.
that's great.
I'm
the Cadillac of men. We also have a good idea for a promo tool. So like if we do a show somewhere.
Okay. Not
which
if.
We're
You're
going
to be
to.
doing one. So
when
we get someone. Wait, that's our next card, right?
Okay.
When are the shows? Okay, so we come out of the venue. The show's over. There's an old Cadillac out front.
Right.
That people can take photos with us in.
Oh.
Like you're in the car and we're like in the back, like with our polka dots.
You're a man in a Cadillac.
And there's someone taking photos, and then they have that photo forever of us in the promo Cadillac.
Well,
we just need a donation from a Cadillac. Someone who was an old, what year? Like 1958?
58.
Like we need a 1958 convertible Cadillac, preferably teal.
Right. That can...
with fins. Are those called fins?
Yes.
Fins.
I actually don't know what that
we
one
could
model
somehow
is
get from venue to venue.
We
need a driver.
Yeah, we need a driver.
This has added a lot of expenses to your tour. But I think it's a great idea.
Well, we didn't think of that, but we thought about, for the premiere show, that we would somehow try and get Cadillac involved, where they could send cars down and park them out front.
Like a car show!
Yes, and even maybe call the car show people and get them involved.
Right.
Because how cool would that be?
That
To
would
walk
be
out to
so
the theater
cool.
in the street line with all the old cars.
Yeah.
They do a car show here in town all the time.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. But I like the idea of you could
The
jump in
promo
and take
Cadillac,
you could jump in and take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea too. So
Nailed it!
You're welcome. Dee Dee. How? This is a very deep question.
okay.
I don't even remember what this is.
I'm just trying to.
I'm like nervous.
No, I'm trying. Okay, so you're a metal man.
Oh.
We know you. We know what you were listening to and what your parents were listening to when you were young, right? But you've had this metal trajectory, punk rock, thrash metal trajectory. Your first solo album, super heavy,
Right.
awesome, and then this one came about. How did you make the jump between metal and this? I can see the correlation because it's so heavy. What we love about it is that it's heavy. It's boppy and it's movie, but it's heavy, which is cool. So how did you just wake up and say, I want to make this one now?
Well, I think a lot of the songs, not a lot, a few of the songs are old. Manhattan
right.
Baby
Yeah.
is 25 years old. I mean, I wrote that song when my daughter was born.
Ah.
And gave it to her and my wife as a thing. And then Just So You Love Me is another song I wrote for my wife on her 50th birthday. So that they were, you know, they were Manhattan Baby's more like a Louis Prima kind of thing, and Just So You Love Me is more like a 50s kind of thing. And then my youngest daughter Olivia is like, where's my song?
Where's mine?
Right.
We love
So
Olivia.
yeah, so I wrote the song for I wrote the song for Olivia. So I had 3 that were kind of that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then I had a few others put aside, and I'm like, you know, I got like 6 now, or whatever. You know, I had these 3, and I had another 3 or 4, so I had 6 or 7 originals, and I'm like, that's a good start. You know, so if I, and I knew I wanted to do a couple of cover tunes, you know, a couple of standards, because those are always mixed in too. So when it's kind of daunting sometimes to say, I'd like to do a record like this, I gotta write 12 songs. Oh my God, you know, it's all the horn sections, all the, but when it's only like 6, you're like, oh, I could get this done. So just little by little, kind of started pulling them together and saying, well, I do have a whole record here. And as far as the writing of it, I think it's just about energy. The energy in the song is, and that could be, doesn't matter what I'm listening to. It's either you pick up on it, you know, right? Like you either connect with kind of music or you don't. And when you're writing, even when in this kind of a thing, if I'm feeling that energy, even sometimes you could be doing a ballad or, you know, a song like that. If that has that feeling of more that it's moving, it's rolling downhill, it's not stagnating, not dragging it along. And I honestly, I don't dance. Right? I don't dance.
That's
I
what
don't
he
like to
thinks.
dance. I don't dance.
Just wait till the show starts.
So, but my wife is like, I got a lot of dancey songs for someone who doesn't dance. So, there must be part of me. Maybe this is the part from growing up and listening to that kind of music too.
Right.
And I always liked kind of boogie woogie stuff too. Like even back in the day, I used to listen to Foghat, which was kind of a bluesy kind of. One of my favorite. Foghat is like one of the only bands that knocked Black Sabbath off the turntable for me for a while I was a kid.
Wow.
So that kind of jump blues kind of stuff I always loved. And then just as a songwriter, it's just fun to try different things on, you know. And I think it helps because when I do a record like this, you know, your head space goes to a whole other place. And you're kind of done with it, and you pack it all up, you're ready. Now I'm ready to pick up the guitar for Overkill. It's like, oh, now we're gonna break some heads.
It's like a mental break from one to the other.
Yeah, and so it's fun. So and I like writing songs. I think ultimately that's what I like doing the best is writing songs. I don't want to say more than performing, but I really like being here, hunkered down with me, and you know, when you're sitting there and you come in at 9 o'clock in the morning and you look up at the clock and it's 5:15 and you're like, holy shit, really? It's the first time I looked at the clock and 8 hours has gone past. I love that feeling. And there's a lot of that doing this big band thing. So
you got some really cool people to play on the record as well.
I had the songs, and when I write, if you strip away all the junk on these songs, they're 4-chord, you know, doo-wop kind of rock and roll songs, right? You know, that's what I'm writing, and that's why I think the energy is there, and that's kind of the basis of what I was doing. And then I can't play horns, so I have a keyboard, and I'll just noodle with horn parts or whatever. And I had demoed up all the songs, and I was looking for somebody to do horn arrangements. And I was talking with my manager, Jeff, told him, number one, he was shocked that he was like, what?
You're doing what?
Yeah, what are you working on? Because this was right when my solo record came out, when Barricade came out. And he was shocked that I was doing this, but partially he was shocked because he's a stand-up bass player and loves big band music. And he's got big Elvis tattoos, this huge rockabilly. I had no idea. We've never discussed it ever. Had no clue. So he said to me, he was like, oh, we got to do this. I told him, I don't know any horn guys. This is outside my scope. And he knew John Hatton. And he said,
John Spaz Hatton.
Yes. John is the bass player in Brian Setzer's band. And has been forever, for a long time. So he said, let me connect you guys. So I called John. We had a great talk on the phone, bullshit about this and that. He said, send the demo over. I sent it over. He brought me back. He said, I love these. You know, let's. Well, actually, I have to say, when I sent it, he said, these are great. I know a guy who'd be great to put horns on this. And I was like, well, I was hoping you. No, I was hoping you would do the horns on it.
Oh.
That's all I was contacting was to do the horn parts.
Yeah.
And he was telling me he knew an orchestrator that maybe Setzer had worked with in Minneapolis, and he told me about another guy, and I was like, well, what about you? I said, I'd love to have you. He's not that tech savvy. He's a guy that still does horn charts by hand, on pencil, like on the staff. You know, so he's writing them out. You know, but he's like, yeah, okay. So he started doing them. And we just started going further and further down the line. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this, you know. And the horns were coming together. And he had mentioned to me along this process, you know, that I could play bass on it too. I'm like, oh, great! I didn't want to ask. You're already doing the horns. I want to ask you to do the bass as well. Now we were going to record, so I didn't know what we were going to do. But he's on the West Coast, so I said probably makes more sense for me to come out there. Mm-hmm. And he said he knew some horn guys who had played with Setzer's band and other bands. John's in a million bands. You know, it's like the dude does a million different things. He said I can pull some guys together, and so he talked to this other band called Fat Cat Swinger, and he thought that they'd be good for it, and they were up for it. So I flew to LA, and I landed, and I get a text message from the drummer saying, "Dude, it's not this weekend." I'm like, yes, it is.
Dude, it is this weekend.
It's not this weekend. It's tomorrow. I just landed.
Oh,
and he's like, I got a gig. I can't do this. I screwed up the
That's
bass.
terrible.
And I'm
That's
like,
the worst.
So I called John. I'm like, I'm here. Studio time is booked. The horn guys are coming in. He said, I think I might know somebody. And
They've
like,
never heard the
never heard of demos. Never heard
I'm
anything.
having anxiety.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Which is like,
Just hearing about it, I can't breathe.
And so he calls me back an hour later, and he says, I got my friend Tony, come do it, we'll be fine. I'm like, what? This is not how we do things in the metal world. In the metal world, I give you the demo, you learn it.
all of it.
Yeah, and then we rehearse, and then we record. So I'm like, I called my wife from the thing. I said, I'll know in 60 seconds whether this is going to work.
Right.
So we went into the studio, and Tony Pia showed up. And I said, hi, Tony, how you doing? And we set up the drums. Mike got the drums all sounding good. Everything was sounding okay. John and Tony they're sight readers. So John had put charts together for him. And we put the demo on. We listened to the demo. And Tony took notes, John took notes, they asked me questions because I have no idea what they're looking at. And we went back and forth, and we said, okay, we'll jump in, let's just try a song. We'll try one. They had it marked up.
Were you like literally crapping your pants?
Were you like, this is never working, what am I doing here, when should I go back home?
Yeah.
Just quietly booking your ticket on the way.
Well, you know, I did the part that I know.
Yeah.
Like, the drums sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had brought all the scratch tracks for them to play along to. It's like, I did everything I know how to do in the way that I usually work. So we fired it up, and I would say probably 60 seconds in, I was like, we're really fine.
That's so
Absolutely
great.
Fine. That guy Tony was an awesome drummer.
Did he show up with his pompadour though?
No, he did not.
No.
He did not. He was just, and then since I didn't know, I think at the time even he's the drummer in Doobie Brothers, which I had no idea.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
no,
neat.
I had no idea. And he was in there 2 days. We did drums and bass, all the tracks for every song, and that he had never heard before ever in 2 days.
That's unbelievable.
That is slamming.
So, and then the next day, the horn section came in, and with those poor guys, they did a great job, but we had them play for 13 hours.
Oh, that's brutal.
Right. I if you're playing guitar for 13 hours
but this CD.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
come on now.
Exactly right. And I called it at the end of the night. I was like, all right, I think that's it. Those guys were ready to go for
Keep
like
going.
another one. I'm like, so in 3 days we did drums, bass, and most of the horns.
Wow. So when you
Great story.
when you did your vocals, did you do it in here?
Yeah.
Did you use this badass console?
I did.
Do you see
My
this?
old Neotech.
It's so beautiful.
Glorious. It's so beautiful.
I feel like we need to overdub like sparkles and neon coming out of it when we say that. That's what we're gonna do.
Sparklers.
Yes.
Yes. Just gonna be like.
It's gonna be like fireworks coming out of it.
Yeah.
An actual real console. It's nice to see.
So making the music video for Cadillac Man was quite a feat during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How did you pull all those people together and just safely gather them for such an epic day at the Vogel?
Pretty impressive.
We were very
Voltron.
impressed that we call it the Voltron Theater.
I couldn't remember what the theater was. Like, we're going to the Voltron.
The Voltron Theater. What is it really called? The
Vogel.
Vogel.
The Vogel in Red Bank.
Red Bank.
Um,
What was that process like,
that
other
was-
than stressful?
Oh my God, right? Well, I knew I wanted it to be a performance. People have to see that it's real. It's
Mhm.
like it's a group. It's something to go see. It's not just like
Right.
a cool little video or whatever. So I know we wanted to do that. So we're like, okay, well, we have to do performance. The first thing was, where could we do it? Because everything's closed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So where are we even going to find a venue even open to do it?
Right.
So the Vogel is a new place. I really didn't know much about it before, and I was like, wow, this place looks great. It's local, and they were adhering to all the COVID protocols and all that.
Yeah, it was super safe.
Yeah. So we got kind of in touch with them first. I'm like, okay, we have a place. Now when are we gonna do it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like April was like so dicey,
Yeah.
still.
Right.
And we're like, I don't
Yeah.
know. So we moved it to
Right.
beginning of May, and we're like hoped. So I
Mhm.
said, okay, now we have a venue, and we have a date. Now who's going to be in it?
The people.
So I think I called you guys first, and said, would you guys be up for it? And
Mhm.
are you around? And you guys were kind of the guinea pigs. It's like, or to even say like, oh, no, I'm not going. I'm not going
Right.
anywhere.
I'm not
Right.
going to people.
Right.
We were like, yeah, when is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good when I got off the phone. That was a very quick, like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
we're
right.
we're
We were
good to
ready.
go.
We were ready.
It's like, okay, that's 2. Yeah.
2 out of 25.
And then I think I called John, and he's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't sure how he was going to react, but he was down for it like
Yeah.
right away. It's like, oh hell yeah, I'll come in. I think he was more anxious even than me to like do something.
Yeah.
He was like really jonesing to get out and do something.
Right.
So I said, okay. And when we had that, and then
3.
3 exactly, and me is 4.
4.
Okay. So I just started making calls to different people. Started with the people that were on the record.
Right.
But Tony, I think, is from Chicago, and so he wasn't able to do it. And I called Damien, who's the guitar player who played on the record, and he was in Florida. He wasn't able to come up. So I said, okay, well, who could I get? And that's when I thought of Angus.
Angus.
And
We love Angus.
We love him.
Yeah.
And he played on my solo record too. He did a solo on that. I had a bunch of different soloists.
Yeah.
And he actually, I know Angus from, I had worked on a musical a number of years ago.
That's right. We wanted to ask about that, and then we didn't make it to the cards.
Oh,
But,
so I worked on this musical, and we needed a band for the musical,
Yeah.
and Angus was one of the people in that band that was recommended
God,
to
that's
us through us, the TSO guys.
Mhm.
Said this guy Angus plays, and he's local, and so that's how I first met him, and we kind of just stayed in touch.
This was the best thing. We're in the dressing room with Angus, and he's like, the last show I did before this one, before the pandemic was, and like, we're like trying to think who is it going to be, and he literally, he's like, Cher.
we're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so great.
Well, when
That's
I
right.
Just sitting there, the last thing I
Yeah.
did was, Cher.
yeah.
So good.
Well, when I called him to ask him about this, he was telling me the same story. I'm like, you were out with Cher?
Yeah.
You were out with Cher? And they think what I'm doing is weird? But we did, I didn't even mention the guys who did the video.
They were cool.
Oh, yeah.
Because
They were
that
great.
was a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Because it had to be local guys. Again, the people weren't going to fly in.
Right, there was no
from all
traveling going on.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, that makes the box much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy Lee Brooks that I worked with, he said when he did this documentary on Life of Agony that he had worked with these guys from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of camera work for him, and why don't you try them? I reached out to them. They were very
They were
into
super
it.
chill.
They were
Yeah,
so chill.
really into
Yeah.
it. They did a great job. I was really happy
Yeah,
with
they-
everything along the way. But one of the guys, the director Adam, after we finished the shoot, we're loading up the cars and leaving, and he comes over and he's like, "Dude, I'm trying to be cool and all that stuff, but he's a big Overkill guy." He's
I
like,
knew he was a
I
metal
knew he
guy.
was.
We
He's
knew
like,
it.
yeah.
He looks like a metal guy.
Yeah,
dude.
He's like, I gotta
Metal
get a
guy.
picture of him. He's like big metal head and all that
He was
stuff.
trying to keep it cool,
Yeah,
but he was
he's
really
trying to be
dying.
professional.
Right.
You know, he's like metalhead. I said, no, me, yeah,
Yeah.
metalhead. Yeah. He's like, it wasn't. I think he was worried maybe that it would scare me off a little bit if he was too much of a metalhead
Right.
because we're doing this completely different project.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I kind of like that.
The
Not-
crossover.
Yeah, the people that understand kind of a little bit of both. You know, I didn't want just metal guys. You know, bringing in musicians.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the blend of everything that we had
It
going
was
on.
definitely a good blend of everything.
Well, on that note, we are
Yes.
going to give you a little sneak viewing of said badass video.
Mhm.
Here is, my friends, Cadillac Man.
Sweet talk, and she's a real operator. My hands all over the wheel. Red hot, a real motivator. Snake caps licking my heels. Mama's all night thinking I'll never stay alive. Papa's always thinking that they're gonna pull me back inside. You keep on chasing just as fast as you can, but you can't catch me. I'm a Cadillac man. Oh yeah. I'm a Cadillac man. Too late, cause the clock keeps a ticking. I'm loose in the neighborhood. Midnight, pulse rate clipping. Won't slow down even if I could. Father John praying that the word will set me free. Sister Mary knowing this could be the end for me. Keep on chasing just as fast as you can, but you can't catch me. I'm a Cadillac man. I'm a Cadillac man. That's right, man. You know I'm on the loose. I race on by on a Saturday night with nothing left to lose.
music video, we had some really funny moments where, you know how we were saying to Dee, oh yeah, we're gonna do some choreography, it's gonna be great. You hadn't seen it.
Oh no.
No, he hadn't seen it.
No.
He had not seen anything.
When we say we're gonna do choreo, we choreographed the whole thing from start to finish, but we never relayed that to Dee Dee. So I guess when you first saw,
you probably thought it was like going to be some little.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
So I'm sure that's what the stage people thought too, because they put us on this riser.
On a riser in the back.
And we get up on the riser, and
it's going like this.
It's literally doing like.
And we were like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die!" So there was a man.
The mic stands like.
Yeah, the mic stands are like.
Because we're like shaking our hips.
I think there's a part in the video where your mic stands.
It's like doing this.
There was a guy who crawled underneath. Yes. And was holding the stage during the takes.
Putting sandbags
like
under
he was
there.
literally under
the
there.
Sandbags didn't work, so he just lay under.
He was in there.
There was a man under our riser the entire time.
We're like, are you okay down there?
Good down there. He's like, yeah.
Are you okay? We're good.
We're fine. It's so good.
So thank you to that man who held our stage in place.
Yes.
Random
we
stage
owe
holder.
you our lives.
Thank you, stage holder.
I was floored when I was like, holy I mean, it
was extra.
It was
a little extra.
Unbelievable. Because we went back and forth with the costumes.
We did.
What you were going to wear.
Fun.
And it was funny, my friend who, the next video we did, there's some things in it, and he wanted to know about what the people in the band looked like at the time. And I think for whatever reason I had the clothes. I said, well, this is what they're going to be wearing. I didn't have photos of you guys doing it. We hadn't done the thing yet. I said, but this is what they're wearing.
It was our vision board. We vision boarded it for him.
Yes.
So he could approve our shoe color. It was great.
Yeah. But I sent that to him, and he's an old metalhead, the guy I've worked with for many, many years on a million things. Mm-hmm. And he said, the young me never thought that I'd have discussions about women's clothing with Dee Dee Verni. It's like, well, yeah, we're in a little bit of an alternate universe right now. We've got to kind of suspend reality a little bit. But yeah, that was my first time looking at headpieces and does the belt match the bra, and
should we do polka dots
or stripes?
Stripes. But
that was so much fun to go through.
But yeah, that
what we ended up with, I thought was great.
Oh my God! When you guys didn't even dance yet. When it came out of the thing, I was like, oh my God, we gotta step it up. These girls, they're on a top shelf. We're just like these fucking guys. And then all the stuff with the dancing and all the gloves and the whole bit. It was amazing.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Yes.
Mission accomplished.
And I have daughters. I have 2 daughters who are very happy I have women in my band. They're like, this is cool. My dad's got a couple of girls in the band now. There's ladies around.
It does change the vibe a little bit in the green rooms and stuff, just having a couple of ladies around.
And it kind of helps us not to be such pigs all the time.
And we were like, Dee, come here, we have to fix your sleeve.
Yeah. Or wipe your glasses. Yeah, Amy with that. Your glasses have a smudge on them. Yeah, give me that.
We're like using our thing.
Right. Fix your thing, your ties,
It does help to have us around.
Yes.
And we're glad to be here.
That was a fun day.
It was a very fun day.
Not nearly as stressful as I thought it could be. It was when we were eating pizza and
Yeah, we were even saying like, wow, this turned out to be, we were worried for you because it's stressful. We've been there where we're producing our own video and we're like breathing the whole time and like checking things off and like who's not here yet, someone's in traffic and like all the things. We were like, it was nice for us to not have to do all that, but then we knew you were doing all of that. We were like, oh, Dee Dee's fine. Like you were chill, you were relaxed. Everything was kind of falling into place nicely.
Well, and there was a lot of prep work, so that day could be okay. And then there's usually some disaster, right?
Right.
So and so cars, and so they're not going to be here till whenever, or who knows? I mean, we finished early.
Yeah.
We went home early.
Yeah.
That was great. It was amazing. That was a fun day.
Good job, Dee.
Good job, Dee.
Good job to you guys.
Woo. On that note,
is that our neon session, episode 3?
that is our Neil Session episode.
Thank
This
you
was
so
great.
much
No
for
problem.
joining us.
I'm happy
Thanks
to be
for
part.
welcoming us into your stude.
What are we doing? Do we do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
there
Yes.
is
Glitter falling now? Is that
Glitter's
what we're
falling,
falling.
falling from the sky.
We hope to see you all out there at a show pretty soon.
Yes. that
Stevie
would be-
Verni and the Cadillac Band. Keep
Yes,
your
that would
eyes
be great.
peeled.
Thanks for hanging in the Glitterverse with us, people.
See you next time.
Uh,
Woo! And scene. Tell the story about how we did the gremlin take, and you were like,
I
"What the
surprised you.
Who are these weird girls?"
No,
We won't
that's
talk
what,
about it.
that's when I laughed my ass off and said these girls are awesome. And nuts. And my 2 kids. This was our Christmas card
I love this so much.
many years ago.
I love this so much.
And I've been telling that my kids we were going to be doing that since they were little, but they were so little to put all of it on, everything else. They weren't going to sit still through
Like
that.
child
Yeah.
abuse.
And my wife, I told her she always knew I was going to do this, and she would just yes me. Like, yeah, okay,
Yes,
that's
Jan.
fine. She goes, he's never going to do that. And then I had the mirrors, I had the makeup, I had everything set. I said, today is the day.
Doing it.
And my wife's came out great. She
Yeah.
had a picture on her phone. She was looking back and forth, and I said, little by little, I said, that's your Christmas card.
Happy Christmas, fuckers. Happy
Christmas.
Christmas. Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'm Cadillac Man. I'm Cadillac Man.